So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the beta version of Elementor Pro 2.1 and the key feature that brings with it, which is the ability to now start creating your own custom layouts for Woocommerce. Now this is one of those areas that a lot of people have been asking for a long time, so it's great to see they've taken that on board and they've started to integrate that in. Now the other thing with this is we can start to use it with our template structure and we can really create some pretty bespoke looking layouts. So in this video, I just want to give you an overview of what it's like to work with this new set of features and the kind of things they offer. Now this is still a beta version, so you need to bear that in mind. There are some weird quirks and some bugs. These should be ironed out before the actual official release is released in the next couple of weeks. So let's just jump over into WordPress and take a look at all of those new features right now. My name is Paul C and welcome to WPTuts, where I show you how to create beautiful WordPress websites. If this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified whenever we release new content. Okay, so the new beta version, what exactly is it going to give us? The key thing is the WooCommerce integration, and I just want to show you how we can start to utilize that. Now speaking of Elementor Pro, you're going to need Elementor Pro to be able to follow along with this video or to be able to take advantage of these features when it becomes available very soon. Now if you don't already have Elementor Pro and you'd like to support this channel, please consider using those affiliate links in the description below. It doesn't cost you any more money to purchase your license, but it does give a small percentage back to the channel and help us create more content for you. So let's just jump over now into the dashboard of WordPress and take a look at what we can do with these new features that are added into this forthcoming version of Elementor. So if you're used to working with the template system in Elementor Pro, then you're going to be used to how we create these template pages for our WooCommerce side of things. It's all done in a very similar fashion. So what we do is we come into the admin of your website, come out to the Elementor menu on the left hand side, we're going to come into My Templates. Now when we open that up, you should now see that if you've got a current version of Elementor Pro 2.0 installed, you're going to see that there's some additional tabs here. We've got things along the lines of the single product and the product archive. Now these allow us to create a single product template, which is the template you use to see just the product details itself. And the product archive in the same way that you've got your normal archives of posts. This is going to work in the same way. This will just show the listing of all the products in the given category. So what we're going to do start off with is we're going to take a look at creating a single product, then we'll jump over and take a look at how we can create a product archive. So what we need to do is we can click on single product to filter things out, and the first thing it does, because we haven't created any templates for this, is it's going to say please create your first single product template. So we can say add a new single product. Now the beauty of this is you can create multiple different layouts and you can assign them using various different parameters or conditions. And we'll take a look at the conditions once we get to the end of creating this template, but they're very easy, but they're also incredibly powerful. So we've got single product, which is fine. What we need to do now is just give this a name. We're going to call this default product page. Let's put the D at the beginning. Okay, so we've given that a name. We're going to click on Create Template. That's going to then take us into the template chooser, which is part of Elementor. We don't need anything from there. We're just simply going to click on the X to close that down and get rid of it. So we've now got the ability to go in and create our custom layout for our page. And we're going to keep this really simple, but we're going to create something that's a little different to your typical sort of WooCommerce page. Instead of being a 50-50 split with the image on the left-hand side and some details on the right, we're going to take a look at doing a 3-column layout. As always, all we need to do is come in and click to add our basic layout for our row. So we're going to do a single row with 3 columns. And if we come over onto the left hand side and just click to edit our section and choose our elements, you'll see we now have a range of different tools or widgets available. So you've got Woo breadcrumbs, product title, product price, and so on. So these are all the key components for your typical WooCommerce page. So now we can go through and pick the bits that we want. So first thing, let's put the image into the center column. So all we need to do is come over to the left hand side and just choose product images. We can simply drop that in there and then we get all the options that are related to that particular product. Now at the moment it's showing a preview. If this isn't showing anything at all or it doesn't show the kind of product you want, all you need to do is come down to the little icon on the left hand side at the bottom, which is the settings icon. Click on there and open up the preview settings section, and then in there you can just simply type in any of the first couple of letters of any product that you've got. So let's just say we'll do POS. Oh, okay, nothing on there. We'll do P, and we'll say hoodie with pocket. That'll do, and we click on apply and preview, and then you'll see that the details will update to show that particular product. It's very easy to work with, and we can do this for anything we want. So once we've done that, the next thing we're going to do is start sort of fleshing out the other parts. So next up, let's start building out the left-hand column. And what I want to put in here is we're going to put the price in there. So we're going to drop that in at the top. You can see that drops it in there with some basic default styling, which we can override certain aspects of that. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that if you've got a theme that controls various aspects of WooCommerce, in this example, I'm using OceanWP, you may make changes in here that are not reflected in the actual template. That's because they're being overridden by your theme. So just bear that in mind. If you make changes and they don't appear, like a color change, for example, that's probably the reason why you're seeing that difference between the template you're using and the theme information. So bear that in mind. Okay, so we drop that in there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're going to say we want the short description. So come into here and we'll say we want the short description. And we'll drag that over and drop that underneath our price. So you can see this doesn't really have any information in there, but as we start to flesh this out, we can have more information in there. So let's just move over to the right-hand column now, and we'll just style some things in there. So we're going to come back over, and we're going to say we want to put the product title in there. And let that update, and there you go. You can see that's pulled in the styling as well. We're going to come over and we're going to choose another option, and here we're going to come down and say that we want the product meta. Now don't worry that the styling looks a little bit off on there, we can deal with that in a moment. And then we're going to come back over and we're going to say we're going to drop in the add to cart button. We'll drop that over there, and finally we'll come in and we'll drop the product rating in as well. So we've got all the key information that we want in there. And obviously as we flesh things out on the left-hand side with the more details about the product and so on, that'll start to fill that out. So there's our basic layout. So the next thing we want to do is just simply come down now and put some additional information in a new section underneath. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and add a new single row, single column. Come back over to our options on the left-hand side, and we're going to pull in the description for the product, which is the product details. And for that, we'll just pull in the product data tabs. So that'll pull in things like the description, additional information, reviews, and so on. Again, this is something that is styled and controlled in a certain respect through OceanWP. So just like I say, bear that in mind, your theme may override things. But as you can see, we've now created something that is completely different to your typical sort of WooCommerce layout. We can also come down underneath and we can add additional things in like product upsells or related products and so on. So we can simply come in, drag that, drop that underneath there, and you can see that pulls up some information. So let's just change that from 3. And we'll set the columns to 3, and you can see it immediately reflects the changes. So now that we've done the basics of this, let's publish this, apply some conditions to it, and take a look at it. Then we can jump back in and start tidying things up, making sure everything looks good. So we'll click on publish, and when we do that, because this is a template, it's going to say what conditions do you want to apply to display or use this template. So what we need to do is click on add condition. You can see we've got the option for include and exclude, so you can create quite complex conditions in here. And you can also create multiple conditions, so you can make sure that it applies to various different parameters to show any template that you want to use. Now this is consistent throughout the entire templating system in Elementor Pro, not just for the WooCommerce aspect of things. So you can see at the moment it says include all products. If we expand that out, you can see we've got the options for inner category or using inner tag. So you can filter this out and get exactly what you want to display. We're going to say all products because that's exactly what I want. If I wanted to add a second condition, I can simply click on add a condition, and you can see now I could say in tag, and I could specify a particular tag. So it would have to be all products with a tag of a specific tag. So you can see we can easily build things up. I can click X to get rid of that, and I can click on publish to make sure that that's now been applied. My template is saved, my condition has been set up, and now I can take a look at that in action on a page. Okay, so this is our demo page, and as you can see, everything is set up the way that we like it. We've got our 3 columns, we've got our description and additional information section, and then we've got our upsells or related products below that. Now you may notice that at the moment it's only got the word description in there. This is maybe one of those little bugs that for some reason it's not actually displaying the description information, but everything else is working. But like I say, this is still a beta, so there's going to be little quirks and bugs until they iron those things out. Okay, so we've gone through and we've set things up. Now let's go back and tweak a few bits and pieces, and I'll show you how the theme in conjunction with the actual templating system can have an effect. So let's just jump back over to our page, our template, and let's go through and let's just take a look at the pricing, for example. Let's click on that to activate it, set that to be right aligned, and we'll take a look at the typography. So you can see we can adjust the size on there. We can come in and we can choose different colors, but you'll notice that choosing a different color makes absolutely no change to it. This is because the theme is overriding things. So like I say, it's always worth considering. If you're finding something that isn't working the way you expect, then this is possibly the reason why. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. We'll just clear that from there. And what we do is we'll come to the next section and we'll just set that to be right aligned as well. So that looks pretty good. And let's go over and sort these out on the right hand side, sorry. Let's take a look at this section where we've got the different metadata. At the moment you can see it's set to be inline, but we can set that to be stacked if we want to, or we can set it to be table, however you want to do that. But you can see it's very easy to rectify that. We can also adjust the spacing in between and adjust all those kind of normal things you'd expect. Turn the divider on and off if we want to on there, and even style the divider. We can go through and we can adjust the typography and the link information, all those kinds of good things. Same goes for the buttons at the bottom. We can click on there and you can see if we want to style this differently, we can do that. We've got all the control we'd normally expect. Even down to the quantity side of things, we can adjust that on there. Same goes with the title. So let's come into the title section and let's just adjust that a little bit. Let's come into our typography and we're going to say text color. We'll just change that to be a dark gray. Let's adjust the actual font weight on there as well and the font size. So set the weight to something like 500 so there's a bit of impact. We'll bump the size of that up a little bit to 26. Looks pretty good. And we'll just set this all to uppercase. Actually, let's just set that to be 300. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. So you can see we can control all these different elements. And if we just update the page, you can see that'll just save the changes out now. And we can go back and take a look at those changes in action. So let's just refresh this. And you can see now everything left aligned, right aligned, where we style things out. So we tidy those little discrepancies up in there. You can see we've got this weird little thing where the title at the top there is a little bit higher up than this side, but we can easily deal with that just simply by coming into this, choosing the top option, and we'll just come into the advanced section and we'll just pop a little bit of padding in there. Let's try something like 20 pixels. Let's make it 15. That looks better. Okay, so we'll update that and let's just say we're happy with that. We've assigned it, we've set the conditions and everything up in there, and we've now got everything set up and working on our page. So the next thing we need to look at is how do we go through and style those archive pages. But before we do that, let's just say, for example, we set this up, our site grows and we think, I want to have a different template for a different section, but now I've assigned this template to be the global catch-all for all of my single products. Well, don't worry, we can easily change that inside Elementor. And it's one of those things that's slightly hidden away, but once you know where it is, you can easily come back in and make that change and apply it to anything you want and update those conditions. And to access that, all we need to do is come down to the update button, which you can see is grayed out at the moment because we've made no changes that we haven't saved. Click on the save option, the little arrow on the right hand side of it. You can see we now have display conditions. We can click, open that up, and our conditions are available in there, which we could then go in and make any changes we want. So pretty easy to do, and then just hit publish when you're ready. So there's our first template done for WooCommerce. Now let's jump back into our template listings and create our archive post template. So back in my templates for Elementor, and as you can see, our new default product page is now listed. But what we're going to do is create a product archive template. So we'll click on product archive, and again, because we don't have any available, it's going to say, do you want to create a new one? And we'll say, yes, we do. We're going to do is product archive is fine, and we'll say this is default product archive. Click on create template, and we'll be back into the same position again, where we can now start creating the templates. So we don't want to use any of these, we'll just get rid of that, and we'll start working with a completely blank page. So now we can create a combination of normal elements alongside the WooCommerce elements. So let's just say at the top of our pages we wanted to have, for example, just an image. Let's just do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click to create a new row. We'll set a stretch section and we'll say we want this to be full width. What we're going to do then is we're going to come in and we're going to just drop in a background in this. We jump over the style tab and we'll just choose an image. Anything, doesn't really matter too much what it is. Let's go for this food one. Insert our media in there. And we can go through and we can style this however we want. So let's go to our background overlay and we'll just set a solid color background in there. So we'll set that to black. And yep, that looks pretty good. And let's just simply add a heading into this. So we'll center that and we'll just say, welcome to our store. That'll do. And we'll come back in, we'll set that to be H1 as the title for our site. and we'll just apply some styling. Now there's one thing I would definitely like to see in the future in here is the ability to use some of the dynamic data information that we have available inside Elementor Pro to be able to pull in the category title. Now we can pull in things like the title of a product and so on, but it would be nice to see a category title available to us in here. So hopefully we'll see that in the future. Okay. Final thing we're going to do is just apply some padding and so on around this. So let's just come into advanced section and we'll say we're going to put 100 pixels top and 100 pixels bottom, just so we've got a nice header that draws attention to what we're doing. Okay, so we've used a basic normal kind of widget inside here. Now we can pull in and start using some of the dynamic information for WooCommerce listings. So again, let's just create a new one column section. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump back over, and you can see we've got a product archive option. So we can drag and drop that in, and that'll put in with the basics. So let's just apply a little bit of padding to this. So we've got a bit of space top and bottom. So again, let's uncheck those, and we'll put 50 top, 50 bottom. Okay, so we've got a pretty typical looking layout. It looks exactly the same as you expect from a normal WooCommerce page, but we can now come in and start to adjust things on here. So let's just jump back over to our layout tab. And as you can see, we've got a range of normal options. So let's just make sure we've got this selected. And you can see we've got the content. So we've got the columns and we've got the rows, so we can adjust that. So let's just say we wanted to have 3 in a section, or we wanted to have 5 in a section. You can see it's very easy. We can update all of that information. If we've got a lot of products on there, we can specify that we use pagination on here, and you can see as we start to get more and more products on here, we'll start to get pagination options. Let's just change this rows out to 2. And you can see there's our pagination options. Now, one of those things that's just a little bit weird is you can see it's butting up pretty close to the bottom of the product. And there's no real way of making any adjustments to that at the moment. So again, this is one of those things that I hope we'll see some options for adjusting the pagination as opposed to just kind of having that stuck there at the bottom. We've also got the option for allow order and show result count, which are all just normal switches, so we can enable or disable those. We can also come in and query things. So you can see the source is current query, but we can, if we want to, when we're creating these default or these bespoke templates, we can show the latest products, sale products, featured products, or we can do a manual selection. We can even come in and exclude based upon current post or manual selection. So we've got a great way to customize what is being displayed on this particular template. So when you create multiple templates, you might have one set up for your sale items, one for your featured items, and then one for your normal listings. Well, you can do that very easily inside this templating system. So that's pretty cool. Now, if we jump over to the Style tab, you can see we've got a ton of options for how we want to style this particular page. So we can go through and adjust the column gaps, the row gaps, and so on. So if we want to tighten things up, get a little closer, we can do that. All very, very easy to do. Adjust the heading, display the heading, enable and disable that. We can control the actual image itself and apply border radiuses and padding, title settings, rating for the star colors and so on, the price, color and information. Again, it's worth bearing in mind that depending upon the theme you're using, you could make changes to things like the pricing structure or the prices and the old price. Nothing will display. That's because your theme is overriding it. I keep harping on about that, but it's worth bearing in mind because it's very easy to forget. You can then control the button, and you can see you can style the button. You can do all the kind of things like border radiuses, spacing and so on. We could even come in and style the box for each of these different sections. So we could, if we wanted to, apply a border width, and you can see it immediately takes effect on there. We can do things like apply padding in there if we want to. So let's just say where we can see the button is kind of a little bit sitting a bit close to the bottom. Come to the bottom of this and we can specify 20 pixel padding, for example. And if we want to, we can adjust the border radius, and you can see that immediately takes effect, which is quite nice. We can choose any kind of background color if we want to, or set a border color. So let's just say we want this to be nice and light so it doesn't stand out too much. We could even go in and do things like apply a box shadow on there. And as you can see, that immediately displays the box shadow. And if we want to fine tune that, that's very easy to do. So let's just say we want to make this a little less in your face kind of thing. So that looks pretty good. Now we can come back up. Let's just take off our border width. We'll just delete that from there. So we now just have a little drop shadow on there. And if we want to, you can see that we've got things like this a little bit close now. We can come back up, open this out, and we can just adjust our column gap to give us a bit more room. And if we want to, we can jump back to content and say we only want to have 4 products per section. And you can see now we've created a little bit more of a bespoke kind of layout for our product listings. So let's just hit publish. And as you can see, we brought back this section now that says to add the condition. We click on add a condition and you can see it now says all product archives, which again we can click to open that out, and we now have some additional options. We've got shop page search results and so on. So we can create multiple different templates and use conditions to apply them to individual sections on our site, which is great. So we'll say we want this to be all product archives, that's fine, and we'll click on publish. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump back over to our test page now and just take a look at what this looks like with the custom alterations that we've just made to it. Okay, so we're now into our shop, and as you can see, this is our custom looking index page for our products. We can click and go in and take a look now using our custom page design for our individual products. And it's really that simple and straightforward. We've now created customized WooCommerce pages, which I think is incredibly easy to do. Now, there are a few things I would definitely like to see, like more control over how we can lay things out on this particular section. It looks good at the moment, but also looks very similar to what we've got with a typical kind of layout for our typical sort of WooCommerce page. So some more controls on there would be fantastic. But all in all, I think it's a great start for what Elementor is allowing us to do with WooCommerce. Now combine this with a great theme like Ocean WP or Astra or any of these themes that have really good close integration with WooCommerce, and you can very easily combine the two of those to get some really nice professional looking results. Okay, so that's what I'm going to wrap this video up. Hopefully what it's demonstrated is some of these new features that are coming to Elementor Pro 2.1 for WooCommerce really are a bit of a game changer. They mean we can do a lot more. We can get creative and build out our own custom layouts without relying upon hacks and third-party plugins. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release new content. As always, I'd love to hear your feedback. Pop your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think of this latest version of Elementor. Do you think it's enough? Do you think they're missing any key features out? Let's get a conversation started. As always, my name's been Paul C. This has been WPTuts, and until next time, take care.